Glad to have you join us on iBrand Daybreak, your favorite TV show, your favorite breakfast show on television. Good morning and thank you for joining us. We are so delighted to have you join us this beautiful morning, and we bring you interesting segments today on the show. It's a Friday, and like they say, thank God it's Friday, but I rather say thank God it's every day of the week, you know. So on the show today is going to be amazing because I have my beautiful co-host there with me. But firstly, my name is Margaret Upper, as you all know. Good morning, Perpetual.
Good morning, and you look okay. I don't know why I keep saying this. Really.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful. It's an understatement.
Oh, I think it is enough statement, Perpetual. Good morning.
Wonderful morning to you, and I'm so glad to have you join us this morning on iBrand Daybreak. I am Perpetual. Fast on repeater. You know what to expect. Today's Friday, so that tells you that we are going to keep you informed and most of all, entertained. Well, let's go take you through what we have for you this morning. We'll start with the news update to bring you up to speed with what's happening in Nigeria, around the world, and in the world of business. And when we're done with that, we take you through the stories making the headlines on the national dailies, and from there we have a conversation, a social conversation basically. You know how Fridays are, yeah, so I want you to really wait for that because it's going to be unequivocal, and it's going to be, I mean, very hard. And then from there we'll have the sports update, a lot of things lined up for your entertainment this morning. And don't forget the social media buzz, and I dare tell you that the social media buzz today is
buzzing. Buzzing, that's the word.
It's buzzing. Yeah, that's the word. And these are the things we have for you this morning. So very quickly we'll go into the news update for today, and I guess Margaret will start with that.
All right, yeah, starting with the first story here on the news update says the House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the alleged failure of the Nigerian police force to account for firearms totaling of 178,459 as of January 2020. The move is in reaction to audit queries issued against the NPF by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation. The office had recently said by the end of 2019 the force headquarters could not account for 178,459 firearms, out of which 88,078 were AK-47 rifles. The House also calls on the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, to take urgent actions to apprehend those culpable for the depletion of the armory of the Nigerian police force.
And still taking stories from the House of Representatives this morning, still on the House of Representatives, the House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill to create a special trust fund for the National Youth Service Corps NYSC. The trust fund is to ensure the provision of a sustainable source of funding for the scheme and the training and retraining of corps members participating in the scheme. The fund will also ensure the development of NYSC camps and skilled entrepreneurial training centers across the country, improve the welfare of corps members, and work with all relevant ministries and agencies of government to improve corps members' human capital development. Introducing the National Youth Service Corps Trust Fund, NYSCTF, bill will complement the activities of the scheme and further help in promoting the spirit of self-reliance and entrepreneurship among the corps members through the trust fund. End of quote.
Now, stakeholders at the 52nd convocation ceremony of the University of Lagos had advocated for further development of research works by university graduates into better business ideas. iBrandTV reporter Iboje Ihoria reports that a total of 12,217 students from the various faculties of the university in 1 week will participate in the ceremony.
While congratulating the graduates, Pro-Chancellor UNILAG Prince Larry Tejusho advised them to further develop themselves to improve their country's economy.
Our main objective is to consolidate on the achievements of the university and open new frontiers for greater impact. We have since initiated ideas aimed at achieving deepening collaboration and meant to support the university administration
on how research work can be turned into business ideas that will profit the nation. The graduates said they will develop the ideas to full scale.
My project is on the fabrication and design of a vegetable dryer using solar energy and biomass. The business side of this is that it's going to help farmers, both small-scale farmers and large-scale farmers, to be able to preserve their food crops efficiently. So this will help them have the ability to market their products to high value markets. The intention of this project or research work is to ensure that food crops produced in Nigeria can be exported to high value markets.
The project I worked on was an FPGA implementation of Codic for fingerprint applications. I plan to work on this project to make it a world-class business size product.
From a total of 12,270 graduates, 7,799 will receive first degrees or diplomas, while 4,418 will receive postgraduate degrees. Boji Horia reporting for iBrandTV News.
And moving to the international scene, many have died in an explosion that occurred at Apiatse between Bogoso and Bodi in the western region of Ghana on Thursday, that's the 20th of January 2022 afternoon. Coordinator of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, Francis Abeyi Kuyanka, confirmed this to local media. Preliminary investigations, according to the police, reveal that a mining explosive vehicle moving from Takwa to Chirano mines collided with a motorcycle, resulting in the explosion. Most of the victims have been rescued and are on admission at various hospitals and clinics within the Bogoso municipality, according to the police.
And still on the foreign scene, the United States and Japan will initiate a new 2+2 dialogue that would cover economic and diplomatic issues. According to media reports, the agreement is expected to be confirmed during the teleconference summit to be held between U.S. President Joe Biden and Japan Prime Minister Fumio Kishida on Friday. And that's all on the news update segment at this hour. We'll take a very short break now. When we come back, we will be reviewing some top stories on our national dailies this morning. Please do stay with us. True unripe plantain flour is 100% natural flour gotten from the processing of unripe plantain. It contains no addictive and has a net content of 500 grams. True unripe plantain flour contains vitamin A, B6 and C. It is gluten-free and rich in calcium. Consuming true unripe plantain flour helps to build and strengthen stronger bones and can be a great meal for diabetic patients. It decreases your chances of constipation as it has a high fiber content and provides you with a low-fat diet. Here are some steps to prepare your true unripe plantain flour. Firstly, mix true unripe plantain flour with hot water in a pot and gradually add water till you achieve desired thickness. Place over medium heat and turn very well for 4 to 5 minutes to get the right texture. Mold into a ball and place in a bowl and allow to cool. Serve with your choice of soup. True unripe plantain flour can be eaten with any variety of soup, be it your ofe oha, ofe onugbu, begiri, ewedu, or your miyan kuka. To get your true unripe plantain flour, contact us at 12 Olowera Isheri Road by First Welder bus stop off Omole Phase 2, Olowera, Lagos, Nigeria, or call 070-6663-8213 or 081-6397-4447. Distributors are needed nationwide. And at this point, we will be reviewing some top stories on our national dailies this morning. So if you're just joining in, you've not joined in so late, you're still on to iBrand Daybreak. And firstly, I'll start with this top story on the Punch newspaper that says, Abdul Salami, workers and federal government as NEC decides subsidy removal in June. With the writer saying, petrol price hike will push more Nigerians deeper into poverty. Once ex-head of state. Life already difficult for Nigerians. Don't increase fuel pump price. SSANU tells federal government. There is a 6-month provision for fuel subsidy. We'll take a position after that. That's from the council, and that story is on the page 2 of the Punch. Further down, Buhari recalls Kaduna bombing experience. El Rufai demands 7 billion naira reimbursement. That's on page 7. Assault on teacher. Ogun magistrate lampoons parents. Others remand mother talk. That's on page 7. Northeast APC legislatures back Bellows presidential bid, hail Buhari. The story is on the page 18 of the Punch. And on page 4, 129 terrorists killed, 64 arrested, 27 victims rescued in 2 weeks. That's from the DHQ. And the bottom screen says, page 7, INC Yoruba seek to join CNG suit on Biafran agitation. On pages 4 and 5, Latma probes officers' attack on commercial bus. Female passengers are injured. And that story is on the pages 4 and 5. And moving on to page 18, this story that says, he transformed Lagos, do the same for Nigeria. Niger governor tells Tinubu. Now to the airpiece of the paper says, Port Harcourt refinery purchased 3.96 billion litres petrol annually. Aviation fuel report. That's on the report on page 19. Reps order probe of allegedly missing 178,459 police firearms. And that story is on the page 9 of the Punch. I will take this final one on page 8 says, Electoral Act faces delay at National Assembly. Harmonization yet to start. And the writer saying, Senators accuse Balajia and Mila of hidden agenda. Speaker fumes.
All right, moving on to some other stories. This is on the Guardian paper today. The banner headline reads, petrol may sell for 403 naira per litre as governors engage Labour. This story has 4 riders. Beg your pardon, first of them being federal government currently paying 241 naira as subsidy on every litre of petrol. Expect a decision on subsidy removal in June, NEC tells Nigerians. Fayemi, governors not responsible for removal, PIA should run its course. That's the Petroleum Industry Act. And then we have NLC insist on February 1 national protest mobilizes labor across the country. That's the banner headline. Checking more stories on this paper this morning. Prepare for uprising worse than NSAS if you hike fuel price. Abdusalami warns federal government. That's on page 6. Northeast legislators back North Central colleagues on Yahaya Bello. That's 2023. How terrorists tried to kill me in Kaduna by Buhari. That's on page 27. And then travelers stranded as airlines ditch U.S. destinations over 5G rollout. That's on page 15. You may get a copy of the Guardian paper to read up on that. And on page 4, we have reps investigates missing 178,459 police arms. And page 3, courts bars NNPC ministry from allocating crude to oil firm. These are the stories on the Guardian this morning.
And now we'll move to the Nation. The banner headline here says, NEC, petrol subsidy can't continue beyond June. And why this is saying decision to pump price belongs to NNPC. Note going back on January 27 protest, says the NLC, and that story is on the page 4 of the Nation paper. And further down says, Atiku, Saraki, Tambuwa in proxy war over PDP tickets. It continued on page 4. The bottom stream says, will we commence lifting of travel restrictions? Page 27 has the story. Reps to probe meeting armed, and that's on page 6. And the AFP says, Bello to Tinubu, you can take Lagos feet to Abuja. The writer says, Niger governor backs APC stalwart, and ex-governor visits IPB, and that's on page 2. And page 5 rather says, thanks for linking me to your success. Buhari tells El-Rufai. Also on page 5, Abdul Salami cautions politicians over fiery comments. I'll take this one here. It says, tax-free pay for junior policemen. INEC determined to secure polls. And that story is the final story on the front page. And that story is on page 6 of the Nation.
And taking you to this day paper this morning, we start with the banner headline that reads, Buhari, El-Rufai is writing his history in letters of gold. We have a rider vows never to let anyone impose himself on Nigerians. Checking more stories. NEC, fuel subsidy stays for now, but may be removed before year end. We have 3 riders, says petrol costs 100% more in neighboring countries. Reveals that 2 trillion naira spent on subsidy in 2021. And then we have accuses NNPC of failing to fund FARC to the tune of 200 billion naira monthly in 2021. Another story, Komolafe confirms NNPC as holder of ADAX OML licenses. That's on page 6. IMF imposes $50 billion trust fund to help low-income countries. And 2 more stories here. Abdusalami speaking, Nigeria at crossroads, insists nation is bleeding. That's on page 12. And we have this other one, in pursuit of his lifelong ambition. Well, you can get a copy of this day paper to read more on that.
All right, and Perpetual, that's Major of the papers this morning carried the news of the fuel subsidy removal. And I like the statement here on the Punch. I'll just read that again. It says, Abdul Salami, workers want federal government as NEC decides subsidy removal in June. And they said, the writers here said, petrol price hike will push more Nigerians deeper into poverty, once ex-head of state. And the next one says, life is already difficult for Nigerians, don't increase fuel pump price. Now look at the issue of fuel in Nigeria. You know, once the price of fuel increases, it literally feels like everything, not literally, everything actually does increase, even down to this paper for printing, and they'll tell you fuel price. The same thing that happens when the dollar increases. So it has an effect on every sector, transport sector, the market women, the food, even the person selling bottled water in traffic will tell you that, of course, they have to transport this thing. So you see how hard it is. You know how difficult it is for when people have to queue at the fuel stations to get fuel, especially when you're driving, even when you have to turn on your generator, how frustrating that can be. So imagine there's now a hike in price of fuel, and everything affects every sector of the government, of the economy. You can imagine what would make of the average Nigerian who, of course, the minimum wage is not even enough to take care of. Now, going back to that, not even enough to take care of his or herself. Talk of those who have families, those who are not even earning anything at all. Well, like he had advised, I think something should be done about this rather than remove the subsidy. That would affect a lot. You
know, when we talk about removal of fuel subsidy, I would like to bring this context, the fact that there is this issue of distrust between the government and the people.
Correct, yeah.
Now, if we're going to look at the issue of fuel subsidy removal, if this is done the way it should be done, and if that money is plugged into infrastructural, you know, if this is plugged into infrastructural development, plugged into other things that can make the economy and the country better for people, this really would have been very, very good, really. So a situation where we have the people not trusting the government, when the government comes up with things like this, we'll always raise eyebrows, because we know that, or because we have seen so far that even the tax we've been paying and all these things that we have been doing, we don't see the result of it. So when we talk about fuel subsidy, personally, if this government, if things were going the way they should, I am in support of fuel subsidy removal. Plug that money into other areas, other sectors. Let Nigerians see it. Let Nigerians feel it. Let us know that, okay, this, because at the end of the day, people are going to tell you that this fuel subsidy you're talking about, some of these marketers are ghost marketers. Some of these people, they get monies and you don't even see the fuel. And some people are talking about the process of paying these fuel subsidies. It's not even transparent. Some persons are, there is corruption surrounding it. So when you look at all of these things, you want to say, okay, I mean, let's deal with this. Let's block all leakages. Let's ensure that there is no loophole. There is nothing for anybody to take advantage of. I mean, let's scrap it and do the needful. Let's do the right thing. But we don't trust government.
You know, it's one thing to remove the fuel subsidy now, and it's another thing to make sure that infrastructures or things are put in place to make sure it doesn't affect.
And that is why we are saying don't remove it.
So why the clamor is don't remove it? Because
it's not even about trust. We're not seeing the results.
Nothing has been put in place to ease the life of the average Nigerian. You're talking of adding this.
Do you know what? And this is not even the first fuel subsidy. It's been a gradual removal. So this gradual removal, we've not seen the impact. So you're telling me you want to keep removing when I haven't even seen the impact. I like the fact that you started with a ripple effect. When you talk about fuel, for manufacturing, when you talk about the manufacturing industry, this is part of their production process. The fact that they need fuel to run their equipment, to run a lot of things, it has a ripple effect. It's like the mainstay of the economy. I mean, that's exactly what it is. So the ripple effect is going to be a whole lot in a situation where government hasn't shown itself to be, you know, to really be maybe I'm trying not to use a particular, maybe I should just use it. Hasn't shown itself to be very, very responsive to the people. You don't blame the people. And market, Abdul Salim was saying something that if they go on ahead and increase this particular price, they are going to see something worse than NSAS. I pray that doesn't happen, because we knew what happened during NSAS. Now, the neck, we're talking about maybe 302 naira or 300 and something naira.
But
and then we have
that story.
Oh, yeah, they've debunked it.
Yeah, they did. They said it wasn't, it's just probably a passing statement.
It was a passive statement, not an emphatic, but it was said. Just
Of
that
course,
it's not
it was,
an
it was in the
assertion.
news. No, of course, it was in the news.
But it
anyway.
was said.
It was said. So,
But-
well, the point is, that there should be a level of trust between the government and the people, like you had already said. I think when there is a level of trust between the government and the people, it makes it easier for people to trust
It's
the
not just
government
trust. Be
when they say
responsive.
they
You want to do
some-
something, do it. Let's it. Then we'll trust you.
All right, I think that's a good place to stay. We'll take a very short break right now. When we come back, we have another interesting conversation for you. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And now it's time to take you through sports. I know it may seem a bit weird, yeah, because we do weird things here on Ivan Daybreak, weird and interesting things, because it's Friday. So our sports analyst, or do I call him a sports correspondent, sports professional, whichever you choose, you're not wrong in any of it. It's right here with us in the studio. Good morning, Samson.
Good morning, Margaret. Good morning, Pep.
Good morning.
I'm sure you have a lot of stories surrounding sports for us this morning.
Yeah, a lot of stories emanating from the world of sports.
shoot.
You know, the African Cup of Nations is the biggest one, so we'll probably have to
Yeah.
start with that. And it has to do with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. They finally know their round of 16 opponents. Talking about the Carthage Eagles.
Okay.
Well, the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia will be the opponents of the Super Eagles of Nigeria in the round of 16 of this year's edition of the African Cup of Nations. And that's as a result of Tunisia losing to Gambia last night. It was a 93rd minute strike from Abli Jallo that condemned Tunisia to their second defeat of the campaign, and it means that it left them with just 3 points. But both sides, just prior to the match, they had already been assured of a place in the round of 16. So both teams knew that they were moving into a round of 16. Tunisia just needed to win to avoid playing Nigeria. But as I said earlier, they lost a spot kick for the third time in this year's edition of the African Cup of Nations. 3 different Tunisian players have lost penalty kicks, from the captain Kazri to Jaziri, who lost yesterday, and it ensured that the Gambians were able to get their second win of the competition to finish as runner-up to Mali, while Tunisia ended up as third with just 3 points, and that means they will play the Super Eagles of Nigeria in the round of 16. Now that's a match to watch out for when it comes to the African Cup of Nations. But moving on from there now to the Carabao Cup. Yesterday we saw action between Arsenal and Liverpool at the Emirates Stadium, and it was Liverpool who progressed at the expense of Arsenal. 2-0 that ended, and it was a double from Diogo Jota, who ensured that Jurgen Klopp's men would hit the final at Wembley, and they would take on Chelsea for the Carabao Cup title for this season. Now, Jota filled in with the likes of Mane and Mohamed Salah out for Liverpool as a result of the African Cup of Nations that is ongoing in Cameroon, and he was able to get 2 goals in the second half to ensure that Jurgen Klopp's men will be the ones to play at Wembley. For Arsenal, they're out of the Carabao Cup. More importantly, they're out of the race for any trophy this season, because to win the league is a long shot. So it means that the rebuilding, the redevelopment that Mikel Arteta is doing at the Emirates Stadium right now continues. But this season, they will be trophyless.
Professor, do you have something to say about
Okay, for me, I think I watched the match.
I heard they will be trophyless, and that's really saddened me. But
Okay, I watched the match. I can't remember. There was this particular keeper who is good with penalties. How can we get Nigerian keeper to be good? Because I am scared for us. I know that he's doing well, and our defense is very good.
Correct.
I mean, our defense has been very
strong,
good.
yeah.
But then, what if we get to the point where there is a penalty kick? What's going to happen to
Well,
us?
you should understand that during training sessions, you train for all possibilities, from set pieces, defending set pieces, to taking set pieces, down to penalties. You have those, training routines. Now, I'm sure Austin Egravon-led technical crew of the Super Eagles are doing that right about now. You do that prior to any match. How much more a big competition like the biggest continental showpiece on Africa, or in Africa, I beg your pardon. So they will be going through those routines. But again, are we looking at the possibility of playing a penalty shootout? I don't think so. I think we have more than enough Arsenal in our ammunition to get the job done within the 90 minutes duration on the field of play. Now, if we consider penalty, during the match like we had against Sudan, that's where the big question lies in terms of, can the goalkeeper pull off the save, especially if we're yet to score a goal? Well, sometimes it's difficult to, judge where the player is going to place the ball, but at the end of the day, sometimes someone will tell you penalties are a game of lotteries. The player could scuff his lines, the goalkeeper could pull off a miraculous save. Regardless of what side of the divide you are in, what's more important is you getting the job done over the course of 90 minutes. If you can avoid penalty shootouts as much as you can.
Not even get to penalty shootout, because ours wasn't a penalty shootout. It was one of our own players who probably stamped someone.
That's what I said. It's about getting the job done. You concede a penalty, even if you concede a goal from that penalty, it's about how you respond prior to the end of the duration of the game.
Okay, I get
let's
it.
talk about Austin Egravon. Like, many people, I don't think many people expected the kind of results we're getting from. Because it came as a shocker. I don't know if I'm correct. Yeah,
it did,
it
especially
came as a
Egypt.
shocker. Yeah, we didn't expect. Someone was saying on social media we've had international coaches and
Foreign coaches
foreign
and all.
coaches rather. And this now we have is more like what we were looking for, what's within us, but we're looking out. So what's this? Is it a miracle or what really happened?
Is it luck?
Is it no? I don't
No,
know.
it's not down to luck. It's
Okay.
about being, tactically sufficient as a coach. You know how to ring the changes and all. With General, there were talks of those who defended him came from the angle of, oh, we qualified for several competitions with games to spare without having to do the whole permutations of a thing like we did in time past, where you have to probably depend on other teams, for their results to favor Nigeria for us to qualify for the competitions. It seems good on paper, but on the field of play, that's where all the efforts, all the trainings, the tactics, technique and everything, that's where it's reflective on the field of play. And on the field of play, the Super Eagles have been poor. Piss poor, in fact, in terms of performance, in terms of, cohesion in the team. So many things were wrong. We play against the Cape Verde, the Sierra Leonean team. We score 4 goals. We concede 4 goals. It's ridiculous. Central African Republic, we lose at home. Ridiculous. And it's not just about the results. It was also about the performance. So there were so many things that were wrong. And what Iguaban has done over the last 3 games we've seen, especially in the group stage, is to just steady that ship. Against Egypt, that was probably the shocking result of this edition for most Nigerians. We expected, the Salah-led team would defeat us, or give us a run for our money. But we literally outplayed Egypt. So what you've seen Iguaban do is just to bring about defensive stability. More importantly is the transitional play. It's probably taking us back to the use of flanks and using it well, especially with Moses Simon and Samuel Chukwueze on the flanks.
All right, thank you so much, Samson. I actually do like Moses Simon anyway. I think he's one of my crushes.
Not Maduka Okoye.
He's everybody's
fine boy,
man.
he's not.
I don't like everybody's man. I love Iwobi. Iwobi is
I
my
want
baby.
him
Nobody
to,
should.
to keep saving. That's what I want.
The ladies are drilling on social
I
media
don't want to dwell
about
on
the goalkeeper.
No,
No,
I love
a goalkeeper
Iwobi.
that is saving. That's what I want.
All right.
But he's
like
been
that.
our top goalkeeper.
Anyway, I love everybody. That's
You love him.
all right. Thank you so much, Samson. We'll go on a very short break. When we come back, we have another interesting conversation. Trust me, you don't want to miss this segment. Please stay close to your TV sets and go nowhere. We'll be right back. All right, now this is still iBrand Daybreak, and now we're going straight into the discussion segment. So there's a story on social media. Popular Nollywood actress Toyin Abraham lashes out on criticism that trailed her husband following his accusation of a Lexus SUV Jeep. Toyin's husband Kolawale Adeyemi gifted himself a brand new Lexus SUV days after his birthday, which struck the debate of being less richer than his wife. In reaction, the mother of one condemned the mentality of comparing wealth and status, especially one that has to do with herself and her husband. So the other story is the fact that I'm sure it's self-explanatory already from she had to also, in reaction, the mother of one condemned the mentality of comparing wealth to status, especially one that has to do with herself and her husband. Now the big question is, I know we've talked about this before on the show, Perpetual.
Okay.
Wealth and status. So the fact that you are
maybe fame,
and wealth, does it come together? I know we mentioned that. I think that was last week on social media posts. Now, someone who's famous is he or she necessarily wealthy? Because people assume people who have the face and have the name are wealthy, but you'll be surprised that some people who are even wealthy are not famous. People who are famous are not even wealthy. Although sometimes it comes together. I want the one that comes together. Anyway, I'm sure everyone wants that. But wealth and fame doesn't even come together, really.
Okay, when we talk about wealth and fame, fame is popularity, you're known. Now, popularity has a lot to do with branding and image, and it has a lot to do with you putting yourself out there. It's an intentional thing to a very large extent. You're always out there, you're putting yourself out there. So there is no way you work on your PR, you work on putting yourself out there, that you won't get results for it. Now that you have put yourself out there, the question is, to what use is it? How are you taking advantage of it? And then it's about your skills and how well you can relate with people, your interpersonal skills, and some other things. These are the things that will convert to money at the end of the day. But that's on one side. And then there are also people who have this fame and all of those things, but they are not necessarily as rich as some persons who do not have the fame. And just like I said, it's all about branding. It's all about putting yourself out there. There are some industries where you don't need to be out there. Yeah. There are some people who are, maybe there's people who are, there are people who are bank executives. They are executives in some big companies, and you don't necessarily know them because their industry isn't one that is always out there, except you are in their sector. Then you know them as, oh, this guy, he's this, he's that. And so for those people, they are wealthier than a lot of the people who are very popular, but because of their industry. Yeah. So sometimes it's about your industry. Let's look at Toyin and her husband. Toyin is well known, especially for movies.
Correct.
And when you talk about movie, that's an industry, entertainment industry. And that's an industry where you have to be out there. The husband is also into that industry. The husband may not have the streak of success she already has in movie industry, but that is not to say, we can't even say for sure who is wealthier. And who is wealthier doesn't even matter. What matters is that we have a man and a woman who are in love with each other, and they want to stay with each other irrespective of who is richer. Yeah, and I think that's something people should just take and move on.
You know, the fact that she was really very sincere about how she felt, like someone just said that now, how she felt to the public, she was really very sincere. And the fact that she came up to stand for her husband now doesn't mean that she owes the public any explanation. Her husband got himself an SUV, and of course people came to say that you are famous, so apparently you are wealthy. I know she just had a movie which the Goes and the Tout 2, which was all over and it made a lot of money. So the assumptions are that she's obviously wealthier. But now this man has been in the industry before her, and we understand that it's not about how long we've been there, though. It doesn't really matter. So in marriage, I'm looking at it from there. You know, the society has a way of putting you under undue pressure. You're not beginning to say because she's more famous than her husband, she's richer, and then she got him the gift. Now, sorry to cut you. Now, the question, even if she got her husband the gift, how is that supposed to be your business, firstly?
That's the problem. How is it supposed
to be your problem? Because they have their family to run, they have their lives to live.
You know, this is why some persons would say, don't put your business out there. Because these are people who, maybe before now, people weren't really talking about them. But because of this birthday, the whole gift and everything, people are now beginning to talk. And that's why some persons would say, instead, because not everybody can deal with this social media backlash. Not everybody can deal with this thing. Some people get depressed. And for some persons, if the man isn't one who is strong enough, it might start affecting him, because we know that men have ego. Not every man wants to marry a woman who is wealthier. Not every man can actually handle a woman who is more successful. Not every man can handle a woman who is even more popular, even though the man is richer. But the fact that the woman's face is out there, some men cannot deal with it. And when we have a situation where we have a family, we don't know how they are coping or how they are dealing with their popularity, how they are handling their fame and wealth and all of those things, and people are beginning to poke nose into their matter. I think let's always understand that these are human beings. How would you feel if somebody begins to say these things? You know that when people hear things, words are seeds. The man may not have even thought about things like this before, but because social media is saying that, I mean, in retrospect, he might just say, about Tony. Is there, do you understand? These are seeds we're sowing into the hearts, into the minds of people. So I believe that we should be kind. Humans, we really should be kind.
And let's look at it from this part of marriage. You mentioned something I was going to come to in the long run of this conversation, that some people cannot even deal with the fact that, or rather some men, I don't make this gender-based now, I'll just rather use some men can deal with the fact that the women are richer, their women are richer than them, and so women, it goes vice versa, but majorly, some men can deal with the fact that the woman is richer or wealthier. And you know, one of the times we had one of our correspondents, Mary China, in the studio, that she mentioned something that really struck me. She said, it takes a woman with the fear of God, a level of the fear of God, to be the breadwinner of the family and not rub it on the face of the man. Sometimes it happens unconsciously, because you know women, we respond more with emotions. That she can be overwhelmed, and she's like, after I'm the one who is and not like she really wanted to say that, but that's overwhelming. That's stress and pressure. The man has been in all of those things and nobody's hearing anything, but then so it takes a level of the fear of God, it takes a level of discipline to not even bring that out to rub the face of the man. So we see times like that. So in marriages, who is wealthier? Does it really matter? Or who earns more, or who is more popular, or probably who I don't even know how to put this again.
You know what? For me, I'll say that it depends on the individuals. If you're a woman who is out there and your husband can deal with it, irrespective of who is richer, that's beautiful. That's perfect. It doesn't matter really. I think this issue became a topic because these are popular people, and also because they put their stories out there for us to see. If they didn't put that story out there, if they didn't post all of these things about their birthday and the celebrations and the gift, we won't be talking about what we're talking about.
But then, is it really wrong to even put your story out there? Now,
if you're going to put your story out there,
be ready for the backlash that comes with it.
Be ready for the backlash.
I follow Toyi Ajayemi. Ibrahim Ajayemi, so that's what she likes to call herself. I follow her on social media, and I see how much she loves and adores her husband. She literally calls him Okomi. I think Yoruba means my husband. So it's more like not the conventional sweetie honey darling. I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with that now, but it could say how personalized it is, how she literally loves and adores this man, because according to her, she's been through a lot in her previous marriage, and he came along the line. Interestingly, he was even her friend before long ago. So he came along the line and made it clear that I love you, and it's not really about whatever you've been through, and changed her perspective totally. So she adores this man. She literally talks about him to whoever needs to listen. So is it really, I don't think it's wrong to, people have different ways of showing love. People can show, your love language can be, I don't like PDAs, no public display of affection.
I love it, baby.
So some other love languages, if you don't post me on my birthday or you don't post me, that means
take your phone
relationship is over. Some other people do not even want to be posted. I know people who don't even wear rings at all, but they are married and they are faithfully married. I know people that will insist, oh guy, you go wear your ring, you're not going anywhere without your ring.
Of course.
Doesn't even mean he was going to cheat anyway. That's understandable. But then people show love in different ways.
Yeah.
So it even boils down to the fact that, like you rightly said, if you are going to put your life out there on social media,
be thick-skinned.
Thick-skinned, ready for the backlash. And also, the social media users should also learn to mind their business.
They should be kind. And that's it. We should be kind. We should be kind.
This conversation it makes me laugh, because I wonder how a lot of people are so bothered about what happens in the lives of other people when you've not even sorted your life out.
Oh no, that's a
No,
big one.
no. It's so.
Oh, Wale, Yenta. I
No,
like
it's
that.
it amazes me how you're so interested in the life of some other person
So
who is
what
happily married.
if Tony got him the car? So what? What will happen?
So we have people who buy cars for people and lie that their husbands buy for them and ended up being the ones.
Do you understand? That's another perspective. That's another perspective.
Because you don't want them to see your husband in a certain light, so you buy yourself a gift
and you say it's from your husband. And now a man buys himself a car and you are saying a lie. Now she buy it.
Or meanwhile, even if the woman buys a car, okay, if I'm Tony, I will even say yes, I bought him the car. Okay, what do you want to do? You want to take the car back? But then it all boils down to the fact that everyone, like, it all, see, the revelation of I was going to say the genocide, but the revelation of it is if you're going to put your life on social media, be ready for the backlash. And also, if you're going to be a celebrity, just know that your life is out there. People will always want to be interested, and social media users, please mind your business.
Be kind.
Not even be kind, just mind your business.
No, you should be kind, seriously. No, your business, they sweet us. I mean, you're putting it out there because you want us to talk. So, I mean, if you put all of those things there and we ignore, you're not going to be happy. Correct, I mean, you're probably going to be depressed, you know. So, let's just be kind. You're putting all those things there because you want to hear, oh, so sweet.
But then,
people, you know, so let's give them the sweet and God well and be kind.
Before we wrap up now, I know we're out of time. If social media can be so comfortable with a man buying his wife a car and doing all of those things, I'm like, oh, he loves the man. So why is it so uncomfortable if the woman actually buys the husband the car?
Is that gender thing?
So why are you being see, that's the problem.
Gender bias.
Why you being if the man did that, we're like, oh, he loves and adores the wife. If the man does that for the man, be like, she's using him, they chop the woman money. Why are we so gender biased? Anybody can buy anybody a gift in a relationship. I can start to buy my husband or of course, my husband has to be my husband, a gift, a car gift. If he buys for me, there's no rule that the man must buy for me. It's vice versa, because in relationship, you bring 100, I bring 100. You don't even bring 50 or 50. It's a 100 thing. We come together, we achieve a common goal, and everybody will be happy.
And that's what's more important. I like the fact that you said we come together, we achieve a common goal, and that is what's more important. Let people run their lives and their relationships the way they deem fit, and everybody will be happy.
All right. Yes. This is a topic that I know people will say I love topics like this, but come on, everyone loves. If everyone loves love, everyone loves to love.
I love love.
Yeah, we'll take a very short break now. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show with the social media bros. Please stay with us. All right, now it's time to bring you up to speed with what's buzzing on social media. And the first story here says, or the first buzzing story here says, confession, hashtag convention challenge. Once I gave a traffic officer faked, wow, fake 200, I once, right? then I begged him for 50, was it?
Rupees, I
yeah?
guess, or
For rand, rather.
yeah.
I gave him officer fake 200 rand and begged him for 50 rand for petrol, and he gave me. Oh, that's so. Okay, someone said, Desi, the only one Desi said, I once put 2 meat on my plate and used rice to cover it and added the main meat on top of the rice. Of course, we all did that. I'm sure you did that too. Perpetual did that, don't worry. So Emilia said, I used to think I'm the strongest in my class back then in secondary GSS1 until I was beaten blue black by a primary 6 schoolboy. Whoa. 2018, that's life after 18. 2018, I got arrested for almost killing someone who was disrespecting my mom. The case was thrown out. I'll do it again. Oh, guy, you're not even afraid, okay? At Linda Ikosi, I love my partner. Sometimes I think maybe she used love potion on me. Oh wow, I don't know where you got that from anyway. But confession challenge, Perpetual. What confession do you have to give to us?
My confession is that I love myself.
Of course, are you gonna love? Are you not gonna love yourself? But confession challenge. Confession challenge, people do a lot of things and they hold it down until it's time to confess. I think one time, oh my god,
You know, if this confession challenge, if we are going to be sincere about it, there are so many things people have done, some they are not proud of, and some they can't just bear to let the people involved know that they did this thing. So yeah, I totally understand. But people coming out to say this, well, that's okay. This was saying that I once put 2 meat on my plate and used rice to cook.
I did that.
See, this is about friendship. That now this is friendship, relationship, and all of that. It doesn't mean you don't love these people, but there are times that you want to enjoy something for yourself, and you feel like, if Margaret come now, she go one follow enjoy chop this thing. I just hide that. So when she come out, I'm gonna enjoy it.
So yeah, I understand that. And the guy is saying that he loves his partner so much, and sometimes he feels like she used love potion on him. Well, maybe there's no love potion anyway. Maybe you just love her because you love her. You know, there's really no reason to loving people. Another one saying he almost got arrested for beating someone with his repeated his
Almost
mom got arrested, killing someone,
Almost.
or for almost killing someone. So, and said he was going to do it again. The show
You should not try it.
how much he loves his mom, but please do not kill
Don't
someone
try it.
to that. Do not do that to that extent again. I think one thing I've done, confession time now, since we are all confessing, something I've done was I might be really proud to say this. I think I should just leave it. So
Oh, you started it already.
I've done a lot of things. I have they putting meat in underneath your rice and covering it. Of course, I've done that a lot of times. I'll still do it again if someone visits me and I don't want the person to eat on my meat. I'll still do it again. But then, what other thing have I done again? I've done a lot of things. So I'm trying to think on the one that is really confession. I've mentioned one, right?
Yes.
What else? What? I had I'm not proud of this, but I had put someone. I had that's my sister. I did something wrong, and it wasn't. I didn't want to own up to it, and then my younger sister, then owned up to it, and my dad beat her up, and that really hurts me whenever I talk about it because she didn't do it. But
She knew you did it?
she didn't even know who did
But
it.
why did she just take
I don't know why
the
she did that.
responsibility?
And really, that made me love her so much. Even till date, I love her to a fault. So that when my dad was beating her, I was crying. She didn't know who did it. But because somebody was owning up to me, she didn't want my dad to beat everybody. So she had to. And I'm like, even today, she didn't know I did that. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Have you told her you
Elizabeth,
did
if you
it?
can hear this. I've never told her that.
Oh,
If you can hear this, I love you so much. Thank you for doing that for me. But I'm still wondering, why did you have to do that? You don't even know. Nobody was going to beat you up. Of course, she's the last child. My dad would always keep up. But she said, Daddy, it's me. I'm looking at her.
That is me.
It wasn't you. I knew it wasn't her. But, oh, that day I felt bad. If you can hear it, I'm sure you will watch it. I'll send this to you later. I really love you so much. Thank you. Thank you for doing that for us, right? So, Petra, so your turn to confess.
I
You
already
must
confessed I love myself.
No.
That's
You have to do a confession. You have to give us a confession.
You know what you said? I've done it before.
Oh, no, I'm not the only one on this bad record, right?
I think that's the only one I can remember. Like, I've done something like this before. And till now, my brother doesn't even know I was the one that... Nobody even knows I was the one that did it. And he was beaten for it.
Oh, wow. So we all put our younger ones into a
Let me
freestyle.
tell you one I did.
Tell me everything.
Oh, my God. I was in secondary school. My boyfriend
You had the boyfriend in secondary school, Perpetua.
She I didn't want to talk before.
I didn't even have boyfriend in university. Perpetua.
That's the
Oh,
end
yeah,
of the
go.
story.
No, sorry, go on.
Because I had a boyfriend and he was in another school, a boarding school. So he came around. I think he was sick, so he had to come home, and he was just going to spend a few days and go back. And I think he wasn't going to be available. So I came out of school. I was in school. I came out. I changed. Somebody saw me, and the person called my parents and told them that your child. Now, he didn't specify if it was your daughter or your son. So they thought it was your daughter, your son. And then I went, I saw him, I came back home, normal. And then my parents were just like, they said somewhere did this, somewhere left school, and they went to check, someone was in school. Why did somebody say this? Now, none of them just talking, and I'm like,
Really?
Who be that baby? Not me, but I didn't tell anyone. This is the first time I'm talking about it.
You've done really bad things. You don't.
I didn't do bad
I'm
things.
judging you. You've
I
done
didn't do bad things.
First, you had a boyfriend in secondary school, and now you're changing. What kind of child are you, Perpetua?
I'm a good child.
All right, that's a good place to wrap up the show. I had a very good laugh. If you've done anything bad, confess below. We want to hear this social media
I'm
platform.
not proud of my confession.
Well, I really felt bad initially, but I'm sure my sister can't remember that again because she was pretty young.
You feel like yours was even better. Mine was
No.
worse.
Of course, I'm not. Of course, we all have had our sad time that we're not proud of. But then it's for laughs, right? It's for laugh. We won't do that again. We promise to be good children from today onward and better Nigerians. All right, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. It's been a delight to have you here. You are the joy of every of our program. Without you, there's no iBrandTV. I wish I can give you all a hug from here and blow some kisses to you, but take it. Thank you so much for joining us. Please do also join us tomorrow. Oh, did I say tomorrow? On Monday. Yes, tomorrow would have programs for you though. But iBrandTV is weekdays, Mondays to Fridays. Join us same time, same station, iBrandTV. And of course, we'll have interesting news bulletins, business programs for your viewing pleasures, documentaries, and all of it. So you shouldn't even change the dial. I'll leave you with a quote here. And the quote is an anonymous quote that says, if you want to achieve greatness, stop asking for permission. If you want to achieve greatness, stop asking for permission, because people would always tell you otherwise. Trust me, we have people who would always tell you cannot do this. So just stop asking for permission and do what you think or what is the right thing to do. And greatness is sure for you. So a big thank you to all of you, social media, the crew, for making this a success from Monday to today. Thank you so much, Perpetua. I appreciate you. And please don't leave us hanging. Join us on Monday. My name is Margaret Opara.
My name is Perpetua Fasami Peter. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to having you on Monday. Bye for now.